Hey everybody, how you doing? It is Sunday at 7:01. This is the conservative corner, as you can see behind me. And I am Seth Eisenberg. You can see that right there. My hand doesn't disappear, like right there. And if you're supposed to be here, hey, cool. If you're not, hang out, see if you like it. If not, you can leave. You're not under any obligation to stay. So you didn't sign the contract yet, so we're all good. Um, Hope you all had a good weekend. Weekends are going by faster. It's like I feel like I just left work this morning for my weekend, and I'm going back to work tonight for the weekend being over. It's ridiculous. I can't stand it. I need to hit lotto so I don't have to work or find the job that I can that I actually enjoy, like thoroughly enjoy doing. Not something that pays well and pays the bills, but something I like doing. Because if you find something you love, you'll never work a day in your life or some crap like that. I can't remember. But yeah, so the weekend's almost over. The work week starts again. I guess we'll have a long weekend because Labor Day, if you're off following Monday, so it'll be a 3-day weekend, which means it'll turn out to be like a 7-hour, 8-hour weekend for us because we'll be back to work before we know it. Let's just hit lotto. If I hit lotto, I'll take everybody to dinner that watches the show. We'll all go to dinner. Anywhere you want to go, it'll be on me. As long as it's not like a scratch off winner lotto. Like if I win $20, no, we're not going anywhere. If I hit the big boys, the big bucks, like, 17, 18, $19 million, we'll all go to dinner. Have a good time. I'm serious. It's the least I could do. For the 25 people that watch my show live, it's the least I could do. If you have any questions or anything you want to talk about, you can put it in the chat. I'm watching that. I'll get to it as soon as I can. Other than that, let's get this show going. So, I don't know if you are familiar with these gentlemen. So I'll give you a little bit of a background. It's Lyle Menendez and his brother Eric. They both were up for parole this week, and both, of course, got denied. I don't know if you remember that. They were the ones that killed their parents in 1989 in Beverly Hills with a shotgun. Shot them both up. Then they said that their father was sexually abusive towards them, and apparently they said their mother was too. And then the problem was after they killed their parents, I think after everything settled, the funerals, they were out spending money like drunken sailors on stupid stuff, and really didn't seem to care or have any remorse or like, oh, my parents are dead. And of course, if what they say is true, and their father was sexually abusive along with their mother, I can understand why they didn't shed many tears over them passing. I don't blame them. I don't think murdering people is the way to do it, but I didn't live through it. I don't know if it's true. I don't know how I would react if that were something that happened to me. But the Menendez brothers, this happened, like I said, back in 1989. The older one, I believe the older one's on the right. He's 57 now. And I think his brother's like 3 or 4 years younger. But yeah, they were up for parole, got denied. Apparently, they said the older Menendez brother, who was long portrayed as the dominant sibling, can try for parole again in 3 years. Though the panel said that could be reduced to 18 months with good behavior. So there you go. Again, I don't know. We'll never know who's being honest. We don't know if they're telling the truth about his father, their parent, his mother, or they're just making it up. There's no way to ever know this now. But that's what they're claiming. They killed him because they were sexually abused and their mother was in on it. And, like I said, we'll never know. There's 3 people that know it. That's those 2 and God. And those 2 aren't talking. And I don't think God is going to have a talk show anytime soon and discuss all the lies that people are saying. So, I don't know. Either way, it's a horrible thing. I mean, I've been mad at my parents before, but never have I ever said, hey, let me get my 12 gauge and put holes in them. That's ridiculous. Now, the next story really was kind of sad. I'm trying to find my notes. Really good person. And with him being gone and all that is some of you probably don't even know who he was. but he was a really, I mean, let me find my notes I'm looking for. Here we go. You might have seen him on YouTube a couple of times or seen the show he was on. Um, Judge Frank Caprio. I've seen him on, I'm pronouncing his last name wrong, and I apologize to anybody that knows him or knows how to pronounce his last name. It wasn't intentional. I don't know if you've ever watched him on YouTube or seen his programs. I believe he's on a show, Caught in Providence. He was a sitting judge, like a real judge, not like these other judges that have their own shows where they used to be judges or they're like mediators or lawyers. He was a legitimate judge um, in Rhode Island. He died this past week, 88 years old. He had pancreatic cancer. Was a great man. I mean, as far as I know, I didn't know him personally. I can only go on what I've seen. Very compassionate, very, very, very fair. I don't think he ever, in what I've seen, ever raised his voice and yelled at people in his courtroom or insulted them or belittled them. Acted like a judge. You know, he's not there to judge you personally. He's there to judge your actions. And a lot of judges, I think, now get that confused. He didn't. Very compassionate man, and he went out of his way to try to help people. I don't think he enjoyed like some judges like slamming people and dropping the hammer. I think he wanted to help people, legitimately wanted to help people, and he did whenever he could. Whenever he possibly could, he did. And it wasn't like he let people slide. There was always some accountability in everything he did. There was accountability, but he did it compassionately, and he did it knowing that hey, uh, we're not going to judge a person based on one mistake in their life and then condemn them for the rest of it. We're going to judge this as one day, and we're going to go with it like that. And I always thought that he was a good man. I can't imagine anybody saying anything different again. I don't know, but what I've seen, very good man, very compassionate, and I wish more judges were like him. Like I said, he wasn't wishy-washy. He wasn't like, oh, you can go and do what you want to do. We're going to let you go. There was accountability. But he was very, very fair, very compassionate man when handing out sentencing. Um, and I don't think anybody would say anything different. He was just a judge, like a true judge, a true mensch, a good human being, and he'll be missed. Usually, when someone good passes, the world will be a little bit darker now, and I think it will. I think judges should strive to be like that gentleman, and those who enforce the law should do so with compassion. Because, like I said, you're judging a person on one incident, on one day, in 30 or 40 years, or however old they are. You can't sum up a person's life by one incident, regardless of how evil it is. If they've killed people, a murderer, fine, punish them, but let's not drag them into the mud. Let's not get into them. Let's not belittle them. Let's not make it personal. That's what he did. He didn't make things personal. He kept it very professional, and that's how it should be. And I think he was a traffic court judge. I don't think he did like capital crimes or federal crimes. I think he was traffic court misdemeanors, but still a good man. And he's going to be missed. I'm sure his family's going to miss him. He was, again, one of the most fairest judges I've ever heard, most professional judges. Like I said, I'm comparing him to the other judges who are on regular TV, screaming and yelling, insulting people. And I know it's all an act. They've got to do it to, make money. But every once in a while, in a world full of, turkeys, it's nice to see an eagle soaring once in a while. And that's what that gentleman was. He was an eagle surrounded by turkeys, and he'll be missed. So thank you very much, Your Honor, and thanks for doing what you did. And that's all I had for the breaking. And see, I changed it from breaking and what I had before. Now it's just, breaking and interesting news, not important, interesting. And maybe I should change the breaking too, because it's not really, because I get on Sunday, like I said, and most of the stuff's already happened. So it's not breaking to anybody. Maybe I'll just keep it like interesting news and then go from there. I don't know. We'll see. So the first thing I want to talk about, in our first segment is just the ridiculousness of some politicians, and that politician and ridiculousness go hand in hand. But just the flat out disregard and disrespect of taxpayers in this country that some politicians have. And they don't care. They don't try to hide it. They don't make excuses for it. They don't try to explain it away. They go, you know what? I'm spending taxpayer money on stuff I shouldn't be. Vote me out if you can. Governor, and if I mispronounce his name, I could care less. Governor J.B. Pritzker, major Democratic leader and rumored presidential candidate, signed a bill into law opening financial or student financial aid to all residents, regardless of immigration status. So he's going to allow financial aid to apply to illegal immigrants, opening a pathway for illegal immigrants residing in the state to receive educational benefits. Again, this is in Illinois. The move was slammed by conservative Representative Mary Miller, who's a representative Illinois Republican, as rewarding illegal immigrants and a slap in the face to Illinois' families and students. The bill purports to establish equitable eligibility for financial aid and benefits for all students in the state. I could sit here and tell you how wrong this is, and it's ridiculous. Excuse me, I dropped my pen. I'm still here. I'm not going away. How ridiculous it is and unfair it is to students, American citizens and students of immigrants who came into this country legally and followed the rules. But it doesn't matter because the people have not got fed up enough about this stuff because these people keep doing what they do. So I can tell you how wrong it is and how disrespectful it is to taxpayers in that state who have children that go to school or, bust their ass 50, 60 hours a week, or the immigrant that came from Africa who followed all the rules, become a legal citizen in this country, to earn the right to have those benefits for this fat bastard. And he's a fat man. Let me make no mistake about it. And yes, it's personal because I think what he's doing is disgusting. Here is King Donut. He just looks like he's a used car salesman. And if you're a used car salesman, I'm joking. Don't get all bent out of shape and just don't. He looks like he's the kind of guy that wears sweatsuits during the summer and complains about how hot it is. He just looks like just a schmuck. But that's him. And like I said, I can tell you how wrong it is and all that. But nobody cares. Nobody cares. Well, let me rephrase that. Not enough people care. Not enough people in that state obviously care, or this man wouldn't have won an election. And make no mistake about it, Republicans are a big enough party to where they could stop this from happening if they just show up to vote. Just show up, vote. But we don't. And there's always say, well, because we have to work during election day. Blah. You know what? Well, then you can't complain. If you can come up for excuses why you can't vote, then you can't complain. I don't. But this guy spending taxpayer money. Number one, it's not his money, so he doesn't care. This is not something that he's coming out of his own pocket with. He's not some, virtuous person, trying to help those downtrodden youth of parents who've made poor decisions in their lives, and it's not their fault. We're going to help. No, he's spending taxpayer money in Illinois. And he doesn't care because no one's called him out on it. And when they do, it's like this Republican slap in the face. Why don't you do more than that? Why don't you work against him openly, publicly? Start recruiting people to run for governor against this fat bastard. Do something other than run your mouth and make sound bites for Fox News or whoever it is you're talking to. The talk has to stop. Talk is talk. If it's not followed up by action, it's bullshit. So stop talking about how bad this is and how insulting it is. Do something about it, for God's sake. Stop running your mouth. Stop flapping your gums together and do something. Christ almighty. I can't imagine anybody, even if I were a Democrat, why are you spending my money on people that shouldn't be here? What about the roads? What about, infrastructure? What about first responders? You're trying to tell me everything else in Illinois is perfect. And we got all this money laying around, so why not spend it on the illegal immigrants' kids? I mean, we got nothing else going on. Everything else is perfect. Chicago, good Lord. I mean, I can think of 5 things they should spend that money on before, like liposuction for this fat bastard. Get him on the Atkins diet. I'd probably save the state some money. I can imagine his food bill every month. But yeah, he's going to spend taxpayer money to support illegal immigrants' children because, they don't get enough. We should do much more for them. And again, they're doing this not because it's the right thing to do, but because they hate Trump. They are so mentally ill when it comes to Trump that they're going to do anything they can to try to undo what he's doing. That's why he's doing this. Trust me. That's the only reason. Was it Trump derangement syndrome, TDS? Right there. Poster child for that and Slim Fast. Right there in front of you. It's the only reason he's doing this is because he's angry at Trump. It's like that's how Biden got elected. Nobody voted for Biden. They voted against Trump. That's how it is. Like I've said before, they could put a soup can up to run against Trump last time, and people would have voted for the soup can. It's just ridiculous. And I've read it before. I mean, I thought it was stupid, but now it kind of makes sense. Working against and hoping for Trump to fail is like being on a flight and hoping your pilot has a heart attack and the plane crashes. That's what it is. You're hoping he fails and the plane crashes so he looks bad. Doesn't matter if you die. You just want him to fail. So let's hope the plane crashes so he looks like an idiot. And these people are going to run the country into the ground. They are. If we don't let them, they're going to run the country into the ground. Illinois governor signs bill offering financial aid to illegal immigrants. It's like I said, it's like talking about anti-Semitism. Not enough people are upset by this stuff yet. Not enough people are angry. Not enough people care about their tax dollars be spent on shit that shouldn't be spent on. So this will continue to happen. It's going to keep going. It's going to keep going. And we got to, and I'm going to say it again. Trump is one person. We can't put everything at his feet and walk away and say, take care of it for us. Bye. Can't do that. We need to assume a little responsibility for ourselves and our county and our city and our town and our state and step up to the plate. We got to stop letting these people push us around and just decide willy-nilly what they're going to do with our money or our time or our real estate or whatever. Push back. Run for office. Be vocal against these people. Door knock against them. Support candidates. Support the most conservative candidate you can find with your time and your money. Door knock for these people. Talk to your friends about them. Do what you have to do because this is only going to get worse if we don't do anything about it. I mean, Trump's fighting his own party and the libs. We need to step up and kind of help. We got to stop looking at politicians as gods. Like, oh, he could fix everything. All he's got to do is snap his finger and we'd all be better. No. The government is by the people, for the people. We are in charge. These people work for us. And I don't know how many times I got to say this. They work for us. And we need to remind them of that from time to time. How do we do that? We vote them out of office. Or we go and they have these town hall meetings. We make sure we're heard. I'm not talking anything violent. In no way, shape, or form am I condoning any type of political violence. That's ridiculous. What I'm saying is civil disobedience. Be loud. Be heard. Make sure they see you. Get people together. Follow these people. Let them know that, like this guy here, I'm sure he's not hard to find. If there's a McDonald's around, he's probably going to be in there shoving McNuggets down his face. Be there. Tell him you disapprove of him spending your tax dollars on illegal immigrants. Tell him. If you got to, scream it. But we got to stop letting these libs decide what's right and what's wrong because they have no sense of morality. They have no sense of right or wrong. They have a sense of what they want. And if they want it, it must be right and it must be moral because they are better than everyone else around them. And if they want it, it's the right thing to do. Until we push back, until we get angry, until we start voting these people out or start running against them, this is just going to continue. It's just going to continue. And if you don't believe me, that, illegal immigrants, need a little more help, let me show you how much help they're already getting. So this is a graph. And you can find all these online, and depending on what site you go to, they're either, look, they're not getting any help, or look, they're getting a lot of help. So I found like 7 or 8 graphs, and this was probably the one that was probably in the middle. So I assume it's probably more honest than the other graphs I found. So this is the one I'm sticking with. As you can see, the blue would be U.S.-born headed households. The orange is legal immigrant households. And that, I guess, purple looks like to me, or is that, yeah, we'll call it purple, is illegal headed households. So any welfare, U.S. born headed households, 39% of those families are receiving that. 52% of legal immigrants are getting that. And 59% of illegal headed households are receiving any type of welfare. Cash assistance, 60% U.S. born headed households. 23% legal immigrant households are the winner of that one. And 18% of illegal headed households are receiving cash assistance. And as you can see, when it comes to food, of course, the illegal headed households are far and above getting more than any other group. Medicaid, again, they're way more than legal born or U.S. born headed households. A little bit more than the legal immigrant headed households, but illegal immigrants again are taking first place in that. And then housing, it's a statistical dead heat, 5, 5, and 4. So you figure error, it's housing is across the board probably the same. So I guess the problem with this is that illegal headed households are getting anything. Why are they receiving anything? This needs to end. And I'm not talking because we need to punish them and they need to, I don't want to help people. I hope they starve to death and die. No, it's because you're here illegally and you shouldn't be here. Is your third world nation you're escaping from a hellhole? Probably. That's why you're trying to come here. But you do it legally, like the legal immigrant households have done. Followed the rules, filled the paperwork out, paid the fees, came across and did it legally. I have no problem helping people who've done it legally. I have no problem helping people who are here legally and need a hand up. No problem at all. I have a problem with helping illegal immigrants or illegal aliens in any way, shape, or form for any reason. Because I'm not going to take away from the U.S. born headed households. They would come first. Coming in second would be the legal immigrant households. And that's it. If you don't fall into one of those two categories, sorry about your luck. You're not getting a dime. We're not giving you anything. It's not because we hate you. It's not because we want to see you fail. It's because you're not here legally. And we're not going to, what did she say? Slap in the face to the legal immigrant households by helping the illegal alien households. Because that just shows people, you don't have to follow the rules. You come here illegally. We're still going to help you. So why do any of that? Just slip on in anytime it's convenient for you. And we'll set you right up, take care of you. So yeah, that's just, and then this bastard in Illinois just wants to add to that. Let's give them more. Let's give them more incentive to come here illegally. See, that's the thing. It's a 50-50 blame. I blame the illegal immigrants or aliens for coming here because they know better. They know they have to follow the rules. But I also blame the liberals for encouraging this type of behavior. I put any death that happens to people trying to come into this country illegally, I put it at the feet of the liberals because they're encouraging this. If anybody dies coming across, the border in Mexico and Texas and they die on the way, it's on the liberals. They have blood on their hands. This is all their fault. Every death, every child hurt, anything is on a liberal. 128% square on their shoulders because they're encouraging this behavior. They're saying, oh, no, come. Don't worry about the laws. Look, we're going to give you everything you need to live. Just come. No, it's their fault. They're no better than the coyotes that bring them across the desert to this country. They're just as bad because they're hoping to get votes for it. But like I said, until the people get upset at bastards like this, slimy, greasy, fat, disgusting pigs that have no problem with spending your hard-earned tax dollars on people who are not here legally and have jumped the line, he's going to reward them. Until we get tired of people like that and start running against them or encouraging other people to run against them, nothing is going to change. Nothing. And I'm not kidding. And I'm so tired of talking about that. My throat hurts. Like I said the other week, I hope there's a time I can come on here and I don't have to talk about any anti-Semitism. I don't have to talk about liberals ruining this country and spending what we have on people that don't need it and don't deserve it. And again, this is what happens when people hate Trump. They do whatever they can to undo what he's done because they hate him so much. They can't think logically. They've abandoned reason and common sense and embraced lunacy. That's what we get. It's that simple. There's no other explanation. I hate Trump so much. It's obviously isn't like illegal aliens, so I'm going to support them and give them money and tell them to come here and not worry about him. It's exactly what they're doing at the taxpayer's expense. Like I said, it's not coming out of his pocket. He doesn't care. None of these liberal politicians, like in California, they don't give a shit. They don't care. It's not their money they're spending. They're not giving money to the lawyers to help illegal immigrant aliens fight the deportation. It's not their money. They don't care. It's the taxpayers' money. And obviously the taxpayers in those areas are too stupid to stand up for themselves and say, no. No. Why are you taking my tax dollars and not fixing the roads or fixing my son or daughter's school? And you're giving it to these people to fight a criminal charge that they're guilty of. We all know they're guilty of. How do I know they're guilty of it? Because they're here. I don't need that evidence. I just know they're not supposed to be here. They just came across the border. They're not supposed to be here. They're going to lose that case. No way in hell, if you're going to get in front of a judge that has an IQ above a Coke can, he's going to say, oh, no, you're innocent. No, you're guilty. Guilty as hell. Guilty as charged. Get out. But no, you're going to throw money at him. People out there have to be as fed up about this as I am. I can't be the only person that close to stroking out over this. What kind of world we live in our children? What kind of disaster are we setting them up for? People, we got to stand up. And again, I'm not talking about violence. I'm not talking about what libs do. We don't need to do that. We have facts on our side. I just showed you facts. Those are facts. People that do not pay into the system are getting money out of the very same system they don't pay into. What more do you need to know? And I'm so sick of, they pay taxes. No, they don't spend money here. They don't pay taxes. Every money they make, they send back to home to whoever family couldn't make it across the border. That's where our money goes. And how are they paying taxes if they're here illegally? They don't have a Social Security number. So how are they paying taxes? I still have no one's been able to explain that to me yet. How do you pay taxes if you're here illegally? Because you don't have a Social Security number. So how are you paying taxes? That's all I want to know. But no, everyone's going to sit back and shake their heads and point to Trump and say he's going to take care of this and wash their hands of it, let him deal with it. And then if he can't, they're going to complain and bitch. Well, he didn't do what he said he was going to promise he was going to do. Blah, 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 blah. He's one man. Stop putting it all on his feet. Stop. You're making him a scapegoat for things that you don't want to do. And when I say you, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the general us. You. We are all responsible for this country. Not one man. Not a group of people in Congress or a group of people in the Senate or a group of people in your state capitol. We, the people, are responsible for this country. We are in charge. We need to assume that responsibility and start hiring people. That's what elections are. It's hiring somebody to run the country. We need to start vetting people more, educating ourselves on people running for office, regardless of county, city, whatever. We need to educate ourselves and find the most conservative, the most consistently conservative candidate we can find and put them in office. And do whatever we have to get them in office. Whatever's legal to do to get them in office. And that means we'll have to get off our asses. We'll have to go door knocking. We'll have to go to town hall meetings. We'll have to talk to our friends. We'll have to hang out literature. We'll have to do all sorts of things to help these people get into office. But trust me, believe me, take my word for it. It'll be worth it in the end. It won't be perfect, but it'll be worth it in the end. We won't be giving money to people who don't need to have the money. We won't have people clamoring to get into this country because they know we're going to pay them to be here, even if they're here illegally. Things will get better. Trust me. But we need to take that step. We need to start doing the work. And then we can start seeing the dividends it will pay. Wow. All right. Take a step back here. Pay some bills, and we'll come back. We'll get into a good thing that I think is happening in one of the states here on the East Coast.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
So yeah, those are the podcasters on the network. You have Alexandra's also the White House correspondent for America's Pulse Network. She gets to go to DC. Like I said last week, just rubbed elbows with the beautiful people. We have Damon the Hammer Galdo, who also has a radio show. Another good guy, really good guy. We're trying to work on something with him so we can do something together in the future here. It'll be really cool if it happens, but I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to jinx it. But if it happens, I'll let you all know. It'll be really cool. It'll be a really good interview with somebody who's really, really cool, like super cool, and has a really great story. I mean, this person has been on both sides of the spectrum, and it's just an interesting story, and everybody will be interested in hearing about it. Damon's kind of working on that, so we're going to see what happens. So stay tuned for that, and I'll give you updates as I hear more. And of course, the man with the plan, the man behind the throne, Damon Sherrod is here. He is the producer, so he's making sure everything runs smoothly and doing what he can to make me look good. That's a full-time job in itself. And again, I don't know if you're aware, his wife has had some issues. She's in the hospital again, so send your prayers and good thoughts to him and his family, and hope she gets out again soon, quickly, and does not have to go back in. Being in the hospital is not fun. Take my word for it. I was in the hospital for about 2.5 months, so earlier this year. So do not think, the hospital can't be that bad. It's that bad. It truly, truly is. So if you can send your prayers to him and his family, I'm sure they'd appreciate it. I'd appreciate it. And it's just a good thing to do. So just got a message. I don't know if you remember, we had a young lady on before who talked about, human trafficking, sexual and domestic abuse. She just sent me a fact. Says illegals qualify for a U visa if a child of theirs is the victim of sexual violence. Even if the child is an adult, all they have to do is report the crime and follow through. So there you go. Something going to happen to the child when they were 6 and they're now 27. They make a report and everything is hunky-dory now. Now they're a U visa must have suffered substantial physical or mental abuse from a qualifying criminal activity, possess information about the crime, and be helpful to law enforcement. They also need a U visa law enforcement certification from a certifying agency. Must have the crime occur in the U.S. or violate U.S. laws and be otherwise admissible to the U.S. or eligible for a waiver. So I hope no one is a victim of a crime. That's just horrible. And being a victim of a crime, while horrible, shouldn't guarantee citizenship. That's horrible. I really hope that, that doesn't happen very often, like I said. But there you go. There's another way they can get in without following the rules. There you go. There was a township in New Jersey, Gloucester Township. Last year they had a Gloucester Township Day and Drone Show. Let me show you some pictures from that family-friendly event. This is during a fight. The The ordinance is a result of a massive brawl that broke out last year among a throng of 500 minors at the Gloucester Township Day and Drone Show. 11 people, including 9 teens, were arrested. 3 officers were also injured. So I guess they got together and the council of that township or whatever they call them in Jersey and said, hey, this is ridiculous. And I'm sure more have. I'm sure that just wasn't one-time incidents where they had teens out of control showing their ass. And they're like, we're not going to let this happen. I'm sure there's history behind all this, as there usually is. So they have came up with a law. It's called Minors and Parent Responsibility. It stipulates that parents will be held accountable for public disturbances caused by their child and could go to jail for 3 months if their child are found guilty of multiple offenses. I don't see a problem with that. But of course, the parents are screaming and yelling. Here's what some of the parents have had to say. They're outraged that the new law could put them in prison for their kids' bad behavior. It's like a snake eating its own tail. No, you wanted to be a parent. Now you're going to be a parent. Stop letting your kids go run roughshod over everybody in the town while you're sitting at home doing nothing. Be a goddamn parent. Assume some responsibility for your kids because they're yours. They're minors. They're under the age of 18. No matter where you're at, you're responsible for your child. They are a minor. You're the adult. You are ultimately responsible. And that's all this law is really saying, is you are responsible. You will be held accountable along with your child for anything they do. They shouldn't be outraged. What is there to be outraged about? You're being told to be a parent. Now the law is saying you will be a parent. And it's not like if they do one thing wrong, found guilty of multiple offenses. Multiple. And that means more than one. So if your kid goes out and acts like an idiot once, this won't apply to him. Found guilty of multiple offenses. So they go out and act stupid once or twice, they're not going to get in trouble. Now, if your kid's habitual, like the throng of 500 that started a fight, injured police officers, probably destroyed property, among other things. If they're habitual, then yes, there's going to be an issue. And yes, you could be looking at fines. And here's here's moms and dads in New Jersey suburb can be tossed in prison and fined for their badly behaving children under a bonkers new law ordinance that some say strips parents of their rights and potentially sets a dangerous precedent. What dangerous precedent? That if you're too fucking lazy to be a parent to your kids, you're going to be held accountable? Is that the precedent? Then set it. Set it in stone. How does it strip the parents of the right? If anything, it's reinforcing their right. That yes, you're the parent. You have final say. Keep your kids in. It's not stripping anything away from them. What about the rights that your kids strip away from people when they assault them or destroy their property or steal from them? What about their rights? Why are these parents not so concerned about that? What it is these parents are so goddamn lazy and don't want to be parents and probably gotten away with not being parents 13, 14 years. Kids are probably failing out of school, probably like it says here, but in trouble with the police or local authorities multiple times, are disrespectful, are uneducated, and are dangerous or a menace to society or at least to that township. And these parents don't care. Why? Because no one's ever held them accountable. Now that they're getting held accountable for their little darlings' actions, now it's a bonkers new ordinance. It's stripping away my rights. It sets a dangerous precedent. You could have avoided all this? Been a goddamn parent from Jump Street. Told your kids no once in a while. Punished them. Grounded them. Made them go to school. Made them do their homework. Not let them go out till 3 or 4 in the morning when they're 13, 14 years old. Have them do chores around the house. Give them some responsibility. Don't give them a phone when they're 8 years old. Don't let them have a Facebook when they're 10 years old. Stop treating kids like adults, and this shit won't happen. I mean, really, you're stripping my rights away as a parent. Shut the hell up. That's probably the most ignorant statement I've heard in a long time. And I've heard a lot of ignorant statements. Sets a dangerous precedent. My God, how dare you hold parents accountable for their children? You Nazi son of a bitch. That is horrible. Horrible, horrible. My kid can do what he wants to do. If he gets caught, it's on him. It's not my responsibility. Don't you dare. Don't you dare try to hold me accountable for my minor child. That's what it sounds like. And when you say it out loud, you're like, holy crap, these people are stupid as a bag of hammers. The kids aren't all right, and their parents won't be either. It's an easy fix. I mean, really, when it comes to easy fixes, this is probably top 3 easy fixes to prevent yourself getting in trouble. Stop being your kid's friend and be their parent. There you go. Problem solved. Mom, can I go meet my friends? Where are you going? Oh, I don't know. We're going to hang out. Who's going to be there? I don't know. A bunch of people. What are you going to do? We don't know. Then no, you're not going anywhere. Sorry. Well, that's not fair. Life ain't fair, kid. Cowboy up and get used to it. But no, most of these parents are like, yeah, they don't even ask. Like, Mom, can I go out? Yeah, sure, bye. They don't ask where, when, how long, and what you're doing. They don't, because most parents don't want the job of being a parent. They like the title. They think it makes them look good. Like, oh, my son, my daughter, I'm a father, I'm a mom. But when it comes down to it, they don't want to do the work. That requires too much of their time. And they don't have time for that. They don't want to do all that. They want to go play golf or whatever they do with their people. They don't got time to be a parent because that takes time. That's a hard job. If you're a parent and you're doing it right, that's another full-time job with 20 hours overtime per week right there. And you're not getting paid for that. You're dealing with people who are going to hate you. They're going to mutter to you under your breath. But you got to feed them. You got to clothe them. You got to help them. You got to mentor them. And you got to love them. Regardless of what they do, you have to do those things. Most people don't have the balls or have the common sense to do all that. So they have their kid while they're babies. It's great because they can't talk back. They can't walk. They can't do anything. And they're cute. Oh, he's so cuddly. As soon as they can start to walk, this is not what I thought it would be. But okay, it's okay. Walk. Now they can talk. Man, I really don't have the time for this. I don't want to do this. And they're expensive. When I read somewhere, it costs like $200,000 to raise a kid till age 18 or something all told, something like that. I don't got time for this. That's really expensive. It's taking money away from me. Go out and have fun with your friends. Call me. Let me know when you're going to come home. I'll leave the door unlocked or I'll give you a key, whatever. That's the type of mentality you're dealing with. And not just here in Gloucester Township in New Jersey, but across the world. Parenting is the most, it starts out as the most unrewarding job in the world because all you're doing is wiping butts, cleaning up poop, pee, changing diapers, bathing, wiping snotty noses, cleaning up puke, all sorts of things. Nothing of it's fun. But when you look back, it's like, hey, it was all worth it. I wouldn't trade those days for anything. Like today, I babysit for grandkids. And I had to change diapers today for the first time in Christ. 15 years, 16 years, something like that. Almost 2 decades since I've changed diapers. And yeah, I gagged. Yeah, I had to take a second step back and catch my breath and wipe the tears out of my eyes because I was shaking. But I did it. And you know what? It's a bonding experience. That kid realizes I was very uncomfortable. I stunk. It was, itchy. This guy's here. He took care of it and I feel better. He's not such a bad dude. It's a bonding experience. And that's part of being a parent. It's not all fun and games going to football and watching them play or baseball and cheering them on. There's shit work that needs to be done to get to the point where you can enjoy that. And these parents, some parents don't want to do that. They don't want to put the time in. They don't let the kids run around and do whatever they want to do. And apparently in Gloucester Township, and I'm sure other places as well, but I'm talking about this place, they've had enough. So they finally said, look, if your kid's out running and he's convicted or found guilty of multiple offenses, the parents are going to do jail time too, and they're going to get fined as well. Because obviously just punishing the child isn't working anymore because there's nothing reinforcing when they get home. So, mom and dad, you better step up to the plate, become parents, or you know what, you'll be sharing it. You'll be your son's cellie while he's serving time. Because you'll be right next to him serving time too. And I agree with that. And like I said, they're not locking kids up or talking about doing this to parents for one offense or two offenses. If they are found guilty of multiple offenses, which that means they've given them several chances and nothing has changed. I see nothing wrong with that. I don't. And you know what's going to happen. The first time some kids get found guilty of doing like a smorgasbord of bullshit and they hold the parents accountable, they're going to file lawsuits, not because their kids were wrong, but because they don't want to be held accountable. I'm not going to jail for what my son did. I wasn't there. How can I be held accountable for what my son did when he was away from the house? Because you're his fucking parent. You should have known what he was doing. Should have known who he was with. Should have known where he was. Should have known how long he was there. You should have known these things, but you're too goddamn lazy and too self-centered to care. So guess what? We're going to make you care. We're going to put your ass in jail too, so you can think about, hey, I'm somebody's parent. That is the most important job in the world. And I'm taking it, I'm doing a half-assed job. And now I'm held accountable. I agree with that 110,000%. 10,000% I approve of that. Not that it matters that I approve of it. I mean, who am I? I'm just saying people are saying this strips parents of their rights and sets a dangerous precedent are full of shit. People saying that are the ones who have kids that have been locked up multiple times, and they know their ass is on the line now. They know the next time Junior steps out of line and gets locked up, there's a good chance it's going to hit them in the wallet or they're going to be serving some time in jail. Those are the ones that are complaining. The parents that do parenting, that are doing their best, and they have a handle on what's going on with their kids, they don't care. They don't, you know what? Fine, I'll put them in jail because I know what my son does. I know what my daughter does. They know what's expected of them. And they know if they step out of line, the least of their worries is going to jail. They better be concerned about me. I'm the one they need to worry about. And I'm not saying you beat your kids, but if you raise your kids right and you set expectations and you lead by example and you reward when reward is due and you punish when punishment is due, you're going to have good kids. You're going to have great kids. You're going to have kids that do stupid kid stuff, but will never put you in a position in this township to get locked up. They're not going to be out there assaulting police officers and participating in riots and thievery and murder and assault. They're not going to be involved in that because you've raised them better. You've spent time with them and you've imparted knowledge to them. Those parents aren't worried about this. Not at all. It's the half-ass sort of kind of want to be a parent, but not really want to spend the time because it's too time-consuming and I got other stuff to do. Those are the parents that are concerned about this because the days of sliding by are over. You got to be a parent now in Gloucester Township in New Jersey. You better be a parent now because they ain't playing there anymore. You're going to do some time. You're going to get hit in the wallet. So I don't know which is worse, losing money or going to jail. Or maybe they do both. Maybe they find you and put you in jail for like 30 days. Who knows? Who knows? And yeah, there's an exception to every rule. Maybe there are parents that are trying their best, but their kid's just out of control. I understand that. And I'm sure the courts will understand that too because they've made it very clear. You could go to jail for 3 months if their kids are found guilty of multiple offenses. So they've already probably discussed, hey, maybe there's kids with mental illness. Maybe there's kids who have drug problems. Then again, if your kid's got a drug problem, you should know this. These are your kids. How could your kid be a drug addict and you not know unless you're just not paying attention or you're not talking to him or you're not asking the right questions? I don't. There's always going to be an excuse of why you can't do something. Well, I can't help it if my kid's not here. How am I supposed to do? It's supposed to be a parent. Well, you know, I wasn't there. I didn't know. You should have known they're your kids. How could you not know where your kid is? Do you not call? You're going to be at Johnny's house? Okay, so you call Johnny's house like at 8. Talk to Johnny's parents. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Johnny, just calling to check up to make sure my son or my daughter's okay and if they need anything. Oh, no, they're fine. You've checked up, you know where they're at. Or if they go, who? There's nobody here. My kid said he was staying with you. Now you got a problem. But you never would have known that if you weren't being a parent and checked up on your kids. And it's not people call it helicopter or what, hover parenting or helicopter parenting. No, that's called being a concerned parent, knowing that kids do stupid shit. And you're just trying to check up on them. It's that simple. Be a parent. Put the work in. It's going to be tough. It's going to be annoying. It's going to be aggravating. But there's going to be one day down the road when you're sitting down having a beer with your son or your daughter, and they look at you and go, you know what, Dad, Mom, thanks. Thanks for grounding me. Thanks for punishing me. Thanks for not letting me go to that party or doing X, Y, and Z. Thanks for holding me accountable. I see why you did it now. It all makes sense. And I appreciate it. And I'm going to raise my kids like you raised me, to be respectful, empathetic, respectful, intelligent children. Not gonna stymie their childhood. They're still going to be able to experience everything a kid can do. And I'm going to allow them to mess up. I'm going to allow them to have fun. I'm going to allow them to be goofy. Hell, I'll be goofy with them. But there's going to be expectations set. Age-appropriate expectations. So thanks, Dad. Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it. If you hadn't done that for me, I don't know where I'd be today. Thank you. And that will happen. It'll happen. Or maybe you'll just get that look. You'll be with your kids one day, they're like with their own kids, and something happens, and they like swat their butt and say, you don't do that, that's not right. And it's just going to click for them. They're going to look at you and they're going to nod. Maybe it won't be some drawn out speech. It'll be a look, a wink, a hug, a handshake. It'll all be worth it in the end. But you got to put the time in it now. You've got to put the work in. You got to put the hours in. You got to be there. You got to show up. And people say, well, me and my wife are divorced. I don't get to see my kids all the time. Then make the time you see them count. Don't make it all about running around, having fun, playing, doing things. Make it count. And if you and your ex can't come to some agreements where, you could still be a major part of their life, you need to get a lawyer. You need to get a lawyer because they're still your children. They're not hers. They're not yours. They're our children. And you should have every opportunity to be a part of their life as much or as little as you want. It shouldn't depend on their feelings or what they're doing. You have every right to see your children. Fight for that. Because there's a fact, children that grow up without a father in the household or a consistent father figure end up in a lot of trouble later in life. And I'm not saying women can't do a good job. I'm just saying it's important to have a mom and dad. Facts back that up 100%. So yeah, hats off to Gloucester Township in New Jersey. Don't back down. Whether people believe it or not, you're doing this to help children. Not to punish parents. You're doing this to help children. It's that simple. Accountability is everything. I don't know if anybody here lives near Gloucester or knows anything about that. I would like to talk to somebody there and just find out if it works or how bad is it there for this to have to happen. I would be very interested in knowing that. Bonkers new ordinance to say strips parents of their rights and potentially sets a dangerous precedent. Shut up. If you were a parent in the first place, this wouldn't have happened. Anywho, let's take a quick break, pay some bills, come back, and we'll talk about some other interesting stuff.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Again, that's Alexandra Levine. She is the White House correspondent for American Pulse Network. She's been there a few times, as you can see. Gets to do some really cool stuff there. I would like to go once. I don't know how that would go over, but I'd like to go once. Sit in on a press briefing or ask some questions of some important people just to do it once. I don't know if they'll let me in. If they've seen the podcast, they probably wouldn't. Like, you crazy as hell. Not letting you in here, man. No way in hell. You can dream. Gotta have goals. So we're going to get into this, the third segment. And it kind of covers a bunch of things, but it all ties back into one thing. So Keep that in mind as we're jumping around. I don't know if you heard about this. The FBI conducted a court-authorized search at John Bolton's home as part of a national security investigation, according to a person familiar with the matter. Michael Bolton or John Bolton, not Michael. John Bolton has been an outspoken critic of Trump, which in itself is fine. You're allowed not to like people. You're allowed to be, I don't like that person. And as long as you have facts to back it up, then be public about it. Apparently, Mr. Bolton has decided to embellish or make up things and attack President Trump and other crap. And apparently the FBI feels that some of the things he's talked about in a book he wrote might have been a breach of national security. So they're investigating him. Seems legit to me. Just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean you get to break the law. Doesn't mean you get to make up things to make yourself look better, make them look bad. You got to be honest. You got to be, factual. You have to be ethical. And if you're not, and you're in a position where you could do some damage to the nation, you deserve to be investigated. I don't see a problem with that. It's called accountability. There's a running theme in this show, and running theme in most of my shows, accountability. You're accountable for what you do. And you should be. No one is not accountable. And in case you don't remember what Mr. Bolton looks like, we're not talking about the long-haired singer. We're talking about the guy that looks like a walrus that has accidentally sat on something that's lodged in his rectum, and he's trying to dig it out with a fork. That's the gentleman right there. Just looks like he's a miserable son of a bitch. You know what? Nothing these people do anymore surprises me. Nothing they say shocks me. Everybody does what they want to do because they're in politics. So apparently they think we've treated them better than anybody else. We treat them, like I said earlier, like gods. Like they can do no wrong. And that's the way they act is a direct reflection of how we treat them. We should be holding them accountable. They're no more special than your mailman or the lady that rings your groceries up at the supermarket. They're no more important than them. And I don't know why people have gotten in their head that they are the end-all, be-all, that they are, from on high, from their mouth, to our ears. No, they are public servants who are grossly overpaid and grossly unscrutinized. These people do not deserve any special treatment. Do you give special treatment to the guy that takes your money at the movies because he's taking your money and he handles money? Do we give him special treatment? Do we give special treatment to Uber drivers because they're driving us around? No. So why don't we give these people special treatment? Why don't we give them a little bit longer leash and allow them to do and say things? Why is that allowed? You ever ask yourself that? Why do I think, I'm just going to name a politician. I'm just using it to, you understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying this person in particular. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Why do we let her say what she wants to say and act the way she wants to do? Why do we act like she's above the law? Why do we, there are politicians that their bread and butter is being on these committees, screaming and yelling and threatening and attacking and insulting people, and we applaud it. But if our boss did that to us at work, we'd be filing a complaint and getting a lawyer. They are no different than you or I. They're not, well, there is, but there should be a different set of standards that they get to live by. There should be a different set of laws they get to live by. It's not how it's supposed to be. But we allow this to happen. So people like this Bolton guy get empowered and their ego takes over. They think they can do and say whatever they want to say. Because up to this point, no one's done anything to them. They've never been held accountable. They've never been told no. Do I think anything will happen to this? Do I think anything will come of this? No, not at all. I think 95% of this is, a show. Smoke and mirrors, distraction. I don't think anything will come of this. They'll probably hold hearings. And people will scream and yell and talk about what they're going to do and how they're going to make changes. And nothing will come of it. Because we allow politicians to do and act what they want to say. That's why we have people like this. That's why we have people like Crockett. God, she's an idiot. And I'll get into her later. I don't even want to start right now because that's all I'll talk about. Jasmine Crockett and her empty fucking head. Yeah, I don't want to talk about her right now. Jesus. Talk about a poster child for pro-choice. She is the poster child for pro-choice. This can happen to you. Anyway, moving along. So yeah, I think it was the director of the FBI said no one's above the law, and if we believe there's an issue, we're going to investigate it. And I'm all for that. As long as it's not politically motivated, I'm all for it. If it's politically motivated, you know what? I hope there's more to it than that. I hope there's something else beyond, I don't like him because he said this about me. Like with this guy, he lied. And he probably said things he probably shouldn't have said in the book, and they're investigating it. That's not politically motivated. That's just the law. We need to look into it. Great. If they were doing it because he called Trump a doo-doo head or because he gave him the finger or called him names, and that was the basis of the investigation, no, I wouldn't support that. That's a waste of agents' time. It's a waste of taxpayer money. But from what I've read, it seems legitimate, and I'm all for it. And I would like to say if he's found guilty of something, he does some time. But we all know that ain't going to happen because we don't demand it. We're not going to do anything. So that happened this week. I don't think he was aware of it. He was out of town or something. And they took computers, I believe, hard drives and things like that when they raided his house in Bethesda, which is probably about 45 minutes, an hour or so away from where I live. So yeah, that happened this week, and I haven't heard much about it since then. So it kind of tells me it's fallen to the wayside, and the dog and pony show's over. They've got the news coverage they wanted. Everybody's like, "Oh wow, the FBI is doing something." They're gonna move on. And in case you've been living in the woods with no electricity under a rock in another country, Trump has federalized the police force in D.C., which I approve of. D.C. was a shithole. I wish he'd done it in Baltimore. Baltimore is probably worse than D.C., but you got to start somewhere. And he did that last week, and apparently there was no murders in D.C. this week at all for the first time in forever. I think crime as a whole is down 18% since they've been here. Streets are safer. Just an all-around good thing. You'd think. But if you put yourself into the the Birkenstocks of a liberal, that's not a good thing. Anything positive that Trump does is not a good thing. It's either racist, xenophobic, or he's just attacking people because they don't like him. It's one of those three things. So they're very upset. There's been marches and other protests going on in D.C. and around the nation because of what he's done. We can't do that. That's, it's wrong to enforce the laws, blah, blah. Typical liberal bullshit is what that is. Like I said, it's not that they disagree with what's going on. They just don't like the person that initiated it. They don't like Trump. So no matter what he does, it's going to be wrong. Like I said last Sunday, the man could find the cure for cancer tonight. Tomorrow, sunrise, there would be liberals out there protesting for cancer, in defense of cancer. I'm telling you, that's how they think. Just think the opposite of what you would do, and that's what the liberals are going to do. Hey, if Trump said yellow snow is bad, I'd agree with him. I wouldn't eat it. Liberal, I'm going to eat it and prove to him it's not bad. Watch me eat all this yellow snow. I'm going to make my own. It's not bad for you. Just think the opposite of what any intelligent human being would do, and you've got what the liberals would do. And that's what they're doing. They're marching against law enforcement. And I call that, it smells like winning. 7 straight days with 0 homicides. That's incredible. And they're not, it's not martial law. They're not restricting movement. They're not demanding papers or identifications of people on the street. They're not doing stop and frisks. They're just there now. The Metropolitan Police Department, which I've never really cared for to begin with, now has enough manpower to where they can do what police departments should do. Be out on the street. Be visible so people can see them. Be in the parts of the city where we know there's problems, saturate it with people on foot, vehicles, everything. And that's what they're doing. And it's working. It's working. And nobody's civil rights have been infringed on. None. Because if they had, trust me, these moron, tree-hugging, black sock and sandal-wearing idiots would be out screaming to the high heavens that it's happening. And they're not, because it's not happening. It's working. It's actual police work with departments who now have enough people in their department to do things like this. And this is what you get. You get a reduction in crime. You get no homicides. You get arrests of drug dealers. You get arrests of criminals. You get arrests of gang members, because now the police department has the manpower. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing. But the liberals, like I said, think the opposite of what you would do, and that's what they would do. Correct, Donald. There have been no, like I just showed you, no murders in D.C. in probably, 9 days now? That's a good thing. Like I said, I wish they had started in Baltimore. I think Baltimore's a little worse off than D.C., but I understand starting in D.C. It's the nation's capital. I understand completely why he would start there. I get it. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I hope now that they move to Baltimore, because Baltimore definitely is a dangerous city. It's ranked the fourth most dangerous city in the U.S. That's based on numbers, not feelings. No matter what the governor of Maryland or the idiot man-child mayor of Baltimore tell you, it's not based on racism. It's not based on white supremacy. It's based on goddamn numbers. Based on numbers, their police department is given to the FBI. So there you go. Numbers don't lie. They are what they are. 2 is 2, 4 is 4. Ever shall it be. So yeah, I hope he moves to D.C. or Baltimore and starts there and cleans that city. Because Baltimore, I don't know if you're from Maryland or have been to Maryland and been to Baltimore, the Inner Harbor. It used to be beautiful. You could go down there with your family, walk the harbor, go to the National Aquarium, the Science Center, have lunch or dinner, and be fine. And not even once bat an eye. Now, you got to get out before the sun comes down. You don't go to the Inner Harbor after dark, because that's just asking to get mugged or harassed or something like that. Most of the restaurants in the harbor place, like the little malls they have in Inner Harbor, are closed. I think one of those malls is completely abandoned, like there's 1 or 2 shops in it. That's it. And it's sad to see. There are decent people that live in Baltimore that are afraid. They don't like being there, but they have no choice. That's why things like this have to happen in cities like D.C. and Baltimore. Not because it looks good or because it cleans up the street. It's because the people that live there, the law-abiding citizens that are afraid, have every right to feel comfortable in their own home and in their own city. That's why you do things like this. So they can walk the street. So they can go do things and have fun and go out and have drinks and dinner and not be concerned about, am I going to get mugged? Am I going to get raped? Am I going to get shot? Is there going to be a gang member, around the corner that's going to, beat me up? That's why you should do things like this. And as long as it follows the law, and it has, they're not doing anything outside of the law, I'm all for it. I'm also a big 2A person. I think everybody should be armed. If you're legal to purchase a weapon, it should be legally for you to carry it. It's that thing. It's just that simple. Carry a weapon if you can. Help, let law enforcement be law enforcement. And this is what will happen. You see what happens in D.C. It's positive. Positive. But the libs are fighting it. They are fighting it tooth and nail. So I wanted to help some of the libs here, and I'll get to that in a second, but I wanted to kind of cover the weekend review, and I did. This is what I found. Over a week now of no D.C. murders. John Bolton's house was raided. Canada removes retaliatory tariffs because they realize they need us more than we need them. The stock market hit another record high. Democrats this week upset over all that. That angers them. That upsets them. That America is winning. That we are winning. It's not Trump winning. It's America. This country is winning. Trump is helping this country win. He doesn't get anything out of this. We do. They're upset that the people of America are better off today than they were last week. That upsets them. They want everybody to be just as miserable as they are. So they were losing their shit, and they will be, no matter what happens. Even if there's a Democrat in office, there's always some reason for them to be upset about something, angry about something, protest something, march against, rage against, fight against something. That's why I no longer try to help these people or try to, figure out how can we help them. I don't care, because you can't. They don't want to be helped. Fuck them. Let them live miserable. the rest of their lives. I don't care. My life and my family's life, and hopefully your lives are going just fine, even if they're miserable and nasty. Shouldn't affect any of us. And that's how it should be. Live your life. Enjoy it. Piss on them. The big thing now is, Trump's not my president. I didn't vote for him, so he's not my president. He doesn't lead the U.S. He doesn't represent me or my country. I wish that is a downside. Donald said yes, but the military in D.C., but with the military in D.C., the morticians and the hospitals won't have enough business. That would be a downside. That is true. The morticians will probably find themselves with a lot more free time. Hospitals as well. There won't be as many gunshot victims or rape victims or assault victims as there would have been. But those are people not working as much as they used to that I can live with. And I'm sure they're happy that they're not as busy as they used to be either. I'm sure nurses and hospitals would rather be dealing with people who are ill or delivering babies or helping children that are sick rather than deal with gunshot wounds or overdose. I mean, there's so many other things that they would rather be doing, I'm sure, than that. Same thing with morticians. There you go. I love that saying. If their teeth were on fire, I wouldn't piss to put them out. That is it. So let them complain, let them cry, let them scream. But like I was saying, I put together a little flow chart, or I found the flow chart that I think kind of will help me explain the situation. When people say, well, Trump's not my president. Oh, okay. So we'll walk through this together. Since the people are here and some people are watching, we'll walk through together now for those who will watch after we post this. Okay, Trump is not my president. So if you think Donald Trump your president? Is how you should start yourself off. Is Donald Trump my president? Are you a U.S. citizen? Major question. If you are not a U.S. citizen, you are correct. Donald Trump is not your president. That is a fact. Are you a U.S. citizen? Yes. Did you like and did you vote for Donald Trump? Let me switch it so we can see it. Right here. Where we go? There we go. Do you like him and did you vote for him? Yes. Then Donald Trump is your president. Do you like him and did you vote for him? No, I hate him. Guess what, Buttercup? Donald Trump is your president. Your feelings don't matter. If you didn't vote for him, it doesn't matter. He won the election. He is the commander-in-chief. He is the president of the U.S. And if you check yes to U.S. citizen, he's your president. It's really very simple. Maybe I should leave that up there for a second so people can see it. Very simple. Yes, no, yes, no. It's really not difficult. If any liberal, I don't know why they would be. If any liberal watches this and that confuses them in any way, shape, or form, send me an email or a chat request, and I will walk you through it again and help you understand how it works. Again, it's very simple, very, very easy flow chart to follow. Yes. If your answer to the question, are you a U.S. citizen, is yes, then basically he's your president. If you're not a U.S. citizen, then you're correct. He's not your president. But why are you here? Hopefully it's just for a short visit or a vacation, and you'll be hitting the road soon. I mean, the things you have to do to explain to these people why they're wrong get tiresome. I mean, my son's 15 and he understands that. I don't need to show him a flow chart. He knows. My friends' kids, no, I don't need to show them a flow chart. They understand. Why is it that liberal adults seem to be the dumbest human beings on the face of the planet? I don't get it. Hell, you could train a monkey to understand that flow chart. It would probably take less time to train the monkey to understand it than it would to explain to a liberal to make sure they understood it. Train the monkey quicker. Hell, you could train a monkey to do brain surgery before you could train a liberal to understand that whether you like Trump or not, he's still your president. Dumb as a bag of hammers. I mean, really. And this is stuff that goes through my mind. Can I train a monkey quicker than a liberal? Yeah, I could probably train a goldfish to understand quantum physics sooner than I can train a liberal. Number one, to wear deodorant. Number two, to understand that Trump is president. It'd be easier to train the goldfish. Like I said, if I didn't know this stuff, I wouldn't believe it. And to be honest, the more I hear and the more I read and the more I learn about stuff, the less I want to know. I mean, the less I want to know, because you lose hope for humanity the more you read about these stupid people that are en masse out there doing things. You lose hope because the good guys aren't coming out. And I'm not even going to say good guys. I'm going to say the people with common sense aren't even coming out to counter the morons. It's almost like they've thrown their hands up and said, you know what? Nothing I can do about it. It is what it is. I'm just going to give up. So I don't like reading about it. I mean, because I don't know if people watching this now, and if you are, just type yes or no in the chat. Are you a parent? Do you have young children that are like still in middle, elementary, or high school? I mean, you don't got to tell me where, who. Just say yes or no in the chat. I'm a father. I have a son who's in high school, who's now in 10th grade. I have a daughter who was in the military, who now has her own children and lives in California. My grandson, without getting into too much because it's family, has autism, and a great kid, awesome kid, great kid, very sweet, very intelligent, funny kid. But like with my son who's 15, he's 8, I believe, and I feel bad. I don't remember. I don't even remember my son's birth date. I don't remember my daughter's birth date. I just know how old they are. But he's a young kid, like my son. And every time I hear these people talk, I can't help but think, geez, what kind of world are they going to be in? What am I doing, or what are we doing to make sure that our children, when they grow up, don't inherit a shithole? I mean, I do a lot of things that I don't talk about what I do because I figure if you do, like it says in the Bible, your right hand shouldn't know what your left hand does. I don't do things to come on here and brag about it. That's called conducting business. When I do something to help somebody, it's between me and that person because that's called charity. It's not for general consumption. It's not to make myself look better. It's not so I can pound my chest and say, look, I'm a good guy. I can prove it. I do it because I want to help. So I do a lot to help people in organizations and things like that. But not everybody does it. So we all have to figure out how can we help make this world, the world, not just the country, the world, a better place. And I'm not talking about some tree hugger, climate change, get rid of all the gas-powered engines and stuff like that. I'm talking about common sense things. Like these morons. Like moron number one, I think it's Al Green. He's a congressman from Texas. Al Gang Green, as I like to call him. And my favorite, Jasmine Crock of Shit. I mean, these people are frightening with their level of stupidity. It's frightening that these people are in positions of authority that can affect our lives. But what's even more frightening is the people that voted them into office. How stupid do you have to be? How ignorant and uneducated do you have to be to vote people like this? And don't send me emails saying I'm saying because they're black. It's got nothing to do with their skin color. It has everything to do with their content of character. Everything. And only has to do with that. This guy's just a joke. I mean, he's an idiot to the 10th degree, an idiot. And he gets voted in. He's a hustler. He's a carnival barker. He's the guy that you walk by and says, hey, look, you give me $5, I can guess your weight and height. That's who he is. She's one of these ladies that has a handwritten sign outside her house, psychic, $5 palm reads. That's who she is. They're hustlers. They prey on the stupid and the weak-minded, feeble-minded. That's how they get into office. And thank God, in Texas, they redistricted, gerrymandered. Like Maryland's been gerrymandered forever. So I don't want to hear about it, how only Republicans do it. Democrats do it too. And there's proof. Look at Maryland. They've redrawn the district lines in Texas, and apparently, hope to God, maybe it'll happen. These two are out of a job. I can think of nothing better. I don't even live in Texas, and I'm glad to hear that. Even if it's just a slim chance, I'm glad to hear there's a possibility they'll be jobless next election. Awesome. And now Crock of Shit's talking about, I'm going to run for governor. You can do what you think you got to do. You only won because the way the districts were drawn up. It was you in a completely Democrat district, and the Republicans had no chance at all whatsoever. It wasn't even fair. That's the only reason you won. Now that they've gerrymandered everything, you're out of a job. And Al Gangrene is out of a job too. I mean, have you ever heard this guy talk? Really, have you? Sounds like he's half in the bottle. Like he just got off an all-night bender and he stumbled into onto the floor. And she just thinks she's like a rap star. Acts like she's got the IQ of 7. I'm surprised she doesn't wear her pants down to her mid-thigh, let her arms hang out. This is what passes for liberal politicians, morons, jackasses, race hustlers, carnival barkers, psychics. That's what they want. That's what they vote for. That's what they put in office. And unfortunately, it gets elected. People like that get elected. Who was that one politician? I can't remember his name. I think they were talking about Guam, some island in the South Pacific, I believe. And they were talking about they had to evacuate one, like that, the west coast of the island because of a tsunami. And he was worried if they all went to the one side of the island, it would tip over. Literally, I'm not making that up. I just can't remember his name. If I saw his face, I go, that's him. But I can't remember who it was. But literally said that if everybody on the island went to one side, it would tip over. It was a legitimate concern he had. And this man is in Congress right now. I shit you not. He thought the island would tip over if everybody went to one side. If it doesn't make your head hurt, you must have the skeleton of iron because my head is pounding. These people are dangerous. Not because I hate the U.S., but also because they're so stupid they think what they're doing is right. They have no common sense. They have no moral compass. They have no idea of ethics. They do what feels good to them. And that's what's scary. Because if they do that, they can justify anything they do in their own head. They can justify it immediately. And facts ain't going to deter them. I don't need no stinking facts. I just hate Trump. So whatever I want to do that's against Trump is good. I'm not kidding. Well, before we wrap the show up, I just want to thank everybody for coming out, and I'll thank you again because it's just how I am. I'm very gracious. I'm a giver. Thank everybody for coming out. If it's your first time coming, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. Again, there's a chat. Feel free to post whatever you want to post. Like, hey, you suck. Or, hey, that was pretty good. I agree with some of it, or I agree with all of it. And like I said before, nobody on this network is looking to change your mind. We're not here trying to get you to fall in line with what we think. We're sharing our opinion, throwing some facts out there. And then at most, we just want you to think. Think for yourself. Like when I told you about the politicians, thought the island was going to tip over. If you don't believe me, look it up. Find out. Find out who he was. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking you to go, Seth is right. Damon Gallardo is not going, I want you all to just agree with me blindly. Same thing with Alexander. We're not asking you to follow us blindly. It's just think. We just want you to think. And if you don't agree with us, that's fine. If you want to have a debate, that's fine. We can do that. But just think. Don't fall into this group think, no matter who it comes from. Just think for yourself. But yeah, again, when I'm here Sundays from 7 till 8:30, Damon Galdo has a show during the week plus his radio show. Alexandra has her show as well during the week. And then on Wednesdays at 8, we all get together and have the Pulse. And we talk about all sorts of things, give our opinions. We also usually have Tim Faisenbaker, who's a great guy. He's running for, and I'm probably going to get it wrong, but county council, I believe, in Baltimore County, Maryland. If you live in that county, vote for him. If you don't live in that county, send him some money. He needs help. Do what you can. Again, he's the most conservative person running for that district. He needs support. Bottom line. If you want to know what he's all about, he has Facebook pages, web pages. Just Google or search Tim Faisenbaker, Baltimore County, Maryland. You'll find what you. Good guy, really good guy, funny guy too. Not as funny as me, but he's right up there. He's probably top 7. If I'm number 1, he's in the top 7 of funny. But he's a good guy, all kidding aside. He needs support, so give him any help you can. We have Elena Rivera, the based mother, great lady, awesome. You'll never meet somebody who's more a warrior for kids. Just definitely wants what's best for them. That has nothing to do with politics. That has to do with right and wrong, like I said before, having a solid moral compass and understanding there's right and there's wrong and choosing to stay on the side of right. That's what she does. Great lady. You should check her out on Wednesdays too. A lot of good people in this network. I'm not just saying that because I'm here, because I'm not including myself in that. I am definitely the uncle that you don't invite to the family reunion because he's just going to let everybody know exactly what he thinks of them. I am definitely, like I've said before, I'm not everybody's shot of whiskey, and that's fine. And also, before I wrap up the show with my opinion, I want everybody to know, no matter what I say, this does not reflect on the network. They don't agree or disagree with what I say. They may not share my opinion or views. Same thing with the other podcasters. They may not share my opinion or views. And any guests I may have doesn't mean they share my views just because they're on my show or because we're on the same network. I'm my own person. They're their own person. So please don't just assume, hey, if they're on the same network with Seth, they're just a big pain in the ass, judgmental assholes he is. Not necessarily true. I'm me, they're them, and there's nothing wrong with that. So like I said, at the end of every show, I usually give my opinion. Sometimes the opinion has to do with what we talked about on the show. Sometimes it doesn't. This has to do with what we talked about in the show. As I said before, Trump has sent the National Guard into D.C. and federalized the police department, and it's worked. It's working. You can try to convince me till you're blue in the face that it's not working, but the numbers and the stats prove you wrong. So my opinion has to do with that. And like I said, like it's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. It's just my opinion. You don't have to agree. You don't. I'm not asking you to. I'm just going to tell you. So let's get this on. Oh, what a glorious time to be alive in the People's Republic of Washington, D.C., or as we Trump supporters like to call it, the swamp that's finally getting drained, one perp at a time. Enter the one, the only Donald J. Trump, back in the Oval Office like a boss, slapping down a federal crime crackdown that's turning the nation's capital into a no-go zone, from a no-go zone into a safe MAGA zone. More cops, tougher sentences, and zero tolerance for the chaos that the libs let fester like a bad batch of fair trade quinona. Carjackings, down 20% already. Per the latest DOJ numbers, homicides, none in 9 days. Plummeting like Biden's approval ratings. It's beautiful, unless you're a DC lib, in which case it's basically the zombie apocalypse and they're losing their soy-scented minds in the most hilarious ways possible. So grab your red hat. Let's laugh at the liberal lamentations. X is a battlefield of blue-checked meltdowns, and it's comedy central for anyone with a pulse and a sense of humor. At Virtue Signaling DC, bio, ally to all, except reality, tweets, Trump's fascist patrols are terrorizing our streets. This is worse than the Orange Menace's first term. Buddy, if by terrorizing you mean stopping the gangs from turning your yoga studio into a drive-by target, then guilty as charged. Trump's got the feds rolling in like a red wave, busting fentanyl dealers and smash and grab artists faster than you can say, build the wall. And the stats? Early 2025 reports show violent crimes dipping 18% since the crackdown kicked off. Proof that Trump's tough-on-crime genius is working wonders. But to the libs, it's all white supremacy and oppression. Keep crying, snowflakes. The rest of us are too busy enjoying safer streets. The protest scenes, pure gold for Trump fans. Picture a gaggle of latte liberals huddled at Foggy Bottom Park, waving signs like Trump thugs equal America Taliban and defund the Don, while sipping $7 Starbucks. One wide-eyed activist, we'll call her know-it-all Nancy, grabs the mic at a solidarity rally and screeches, this crackdown is erasing our community's lived experiences. We need healing, not handcuffs. Lived experiences, like the ones where residents were dodging bullets on their morning commute under your defund the police fevered dreams. Trump fixed that in weeks, folks, because he gets it. Law and order isn't an option. It's essential. Nancy Know-It-All's crowd cheers, but half of them scatter when a patrol car rolls by. Hypocrisy level, expert. And the irony? It's thicker than a Biden gaffe. These are the same DC libs who turned the city into a revolving door for criminals with their progressive policies. Remember the 2023 crime surge that had even Nancy Pelosi beefing up her security detail? Now Trump's team is flooding the streets with actual enforcement, and it's suddenly authoritarianism. A local Dem council hack tweets a thread about protecting vulnerable populations from the crackdown, right after voting for the budget that funds Trump's extra patrols. Smooth, guys. Trump's laughing all the way to the bank, or in this case, the Oval Office, because his America First approach is delivering results, while the libs delivering nothing but drama. Viral TikToks showed them blocking cop cars with their Priuses, chanting, "No Trump, no peace," until the officer politely asked them to move. Spoiler alert, they move, because even libs know not to mess with Trump's lawmen. The fashion parade at these freakouts is a riot too. Dreadlocks, rainbow pins, and resist tees galore, all clashing with the backdrop of a cleaner and safer neighborhood. One X video captures a group of millennials forming a die-in to protest the crackdown, lying on the sidewalk in Anacostia, blocking traffic until actual locals yell at them to get up because, get this, the area is finally safe enough for kids to play in. Trump's vision in action. And don't miss the barista brigade, the viral clip of a Starbucks employee ranting about cranial capitalism while slinging overpriced frappuccinos to the same Fed she's protesting. Priceless. Trump's economy is booming, crime's dropping, and the libs, they're just providing the soundtrack, a symphony of sobs and slogans. In the end, as Trump turns D.C. from a liberal laughingstock into a shining example of red state efficiency without the red state, the libs' meltdowns are the cherry on top. They're clutching their pronouns and their privilege, wailing about the end of times while the rest of us toast to the comeback king. Keep it up, Donald. Your crime crackdown isn't just winning, it's entertaining as hell. Libs, if you need a safe space, try Mar-a-Lago. We'll save you a spot right next to the winning team. MAGA forever. Again, that's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You can think I'm full of it or completely agree with me. Just wanted to share that with you all. Well, I've kept you all long enough. It's 8:33. Again, thanks for hanging out tonight. Again, this is the Conservative Corner. I am Seth Eisenberg, your host. To everybody who's watched live, thank you very much. To everybody that's posted something in the chat, that's great. I appreciate it. And it's an honor and a privilege that you take time out of your evening to listen to me. I think it's very cool. Again, I will see you all Wednesday at 8 on the Pulse. And I will see you again next Sunday, same bat time, same bat channel. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and follow us on Rumble, on X, on Twitter, on Truth Social. Everywhere you can see us, please like and subscribe and follow us. Share this with everybody you know. Again, the more people that follow us, the bigger our voice gets. The bigger our voice gets, the less they can ignore us. And in the end, that's what we want. We just want to be heard. So have a great evening. Have a good work week. Don't work too hard. Remember, work to live. Don't live to work. Life's too short not to try to enjoy it when you can. We only get one time going around. This is not a dress rehearsal. So enjoy it while you're here. Remember, if you live your life by a set of principles and not by a party's rules, you're going to live a pretty good life and be something you and your family will be proud of. Everybody have a good evening, and I will see you Wednesday.